Okay, so this is it. This is the Game Speak, episode 1. We're back after a long hiatus. The crew has changed up a little bit. For those that are familiar with it, you will please excuse me to take a minute to explain what the Game Speak was for anyone that's new to this. The Game Speak was originally just a kind of gaming circle of friends that were talking about anything to do with the gaming industry. It was originally started by myself and Fake Thriller about 2 years ago now at this point. And it kind of had an off and on bit of a life cycle at Shustybang, and the idea came back to me. I was like, you know what, we should start this again. But I'm kind of debating kicking out Epona because I'm fucking sick of Pikachu. Stupid Pikachu. The whole point of this is to discuss anything and everything that's going on inside the gaming industry. Now, the difference between this iteration of the Game Speak and previous ones is we want the community to be more directly involved. And that's where Dawnbreaker Gaming comes in, because for all intents and purposes, the Game Speak is Dawnbreaker Gaming, Dawnbreaker Gaming is the Game Speak, whatever. They're going hand in hand. This will be on the website. It's going to be kind of a something that you can count on seeing on the website on the regular. And topics for this podcast are driven by you guys in the community. We all have decided to bring at least one topic ourselves to just be on the safe side, in case there's something that we feel is something really important to discuss. But inside the forums, you guys are allowed to go ahead and throw up some ideas on things you would like us to discuss. And again, anything to do with gaming. It doesn't have to be about any specific game or stuff. If it's related to gaming in any way whatsoever, it's free game. And we'll go through it like we did for this week. We went through and reviewed all the topics. We picked out some that we're going to discuss for about the next hour. We'll take it from there. But to roll into it, we will do introductions. And considering I'm already talking, I'll just keep rolling with it. So I'm Snoop603. All of you here probably know me. I don't think there's anyone here that doesn't know me, but in case you don't, I am the guy behind Shustybang. It was myself and Fake Thriller, but now it's just me, Snoop603. Been at this for several years now. I like to talk a lot, in case you couldn't figure that out. From this point, I'm going to hand it off, and I'm going to go clockwise. So, Scanner, introduce yourself, sir.
No.
What?
Hi, I'm Scanner. You probably know who I am by now, and if you don't, you're a fucking tool.
I like
There's
that.
my intro.
That is a beautiful intro. All right, Tony.
Look, everybody should fucking know who I am by now.
Everybody should, but you know what? We're covering our bases this way. And plus, it's going to get uploaded to the channel, and then from there, go into Dawnbreaker, so it's not like overly important that you give us your life story, but at least people kind of have an idea.
Nah, they know if they like me or not by now. It's fine.
Oh my god. That's true though, actually.
Yep.
All right.
Like, within the first 5 seconds, you're like, nope.
You're up, Tony.
Not happening. Oh god, I don't even know where to begin. We're put on the spot here. It's not like we had all day to practice this. Well, I guess let's hear. I've been around Snoop and Shustybang for what now? 3, 4 years?
Almost 4 years now.
Almost 4. Holy shit.
Tony is one of the original Shustybang. Oh, what's the word I'm looking for?
Golf squad.
Roadies.
Roadies?
No, not roadie.
What?
Well, yeah. No, fuck it. Those girls that always follow around band members that are...
Groupie?
No. Groupie, thank you. My English is not so great right now. Just continue, please.
It's all the beers.
It is. Oversleep, man.
But yeah, it's
Oversleep,
actually been
overtime.
kind of interesting to watch this group of people grow from the freaking 2,000 subs when I met you to where you're at now, and website and all this other crap. So that doesn't really tell you about me. My significance in the gaming community is rather small, I'll be honest right now. But that's because I'm putting more effort into school than I am into YouTube and gaming as of late. So we'll learn more about me as the weeks go by.
I like it. All right, Jess, you're up. You're last because you put yourself there, and I went clockwise. So
I put myself the way Tony put us, so apparently he's got some
That's not true. Whoa,
messages
whoa.
to send me.
That's not true.
Fine.
You changed my layout. Like, mine was a very horizontal layout.
Okay.
Alright.
I'm Jess. That's it.
You're a
Jess.
girl.
Epona, the first lady. I'm the token woman of the group.
token woman. You're the driving force. Don't sell yourself short. Come on, you were the driving force behind Dawnbreaker. If it wasn't for you, there would just be some half-formed idea in the back of my head, like, hey, you know, it'd be pretty cool website. I don't fucking know how to make it.
Stop it. I do a lot of secret things that people don't know about. A lot of gaming things, I should say.
She does. She has her hands in a lot of things within the gaming community.
Oh. Oh.
I'm being so polite now. What's this about?
Ugh.
I didn't make one rude comment.
I'm surprised. Okay, introductions out of the way. Let's jump into a topic. We have our little handy-dandy cheat sheet, and the only topic I see that got 2 asterisks for what people want to talk about. This is a good topic. All right, so this, again, all the topics we're discussing has come from you guys in the community, and it was posted in the Dawnbreaker forum, the Dawnbreaker Gaming forums. So this one came from Spec Ops Ghost. Tony's gonna have to catch up when he gets back. I'd like to hear what you guys think about games being remade for the current-gen consoles and PC. Meaning, I think when he means current-gen, he means next-gen consoles. Do you feel this practice is good, or would you rather see developers focus on new IPs instead? Are there any games from previous eras that you would like to see remade? This could tie in well with the upcoming release of Halo Master Chief Collection. Rampaging Panda added on to that, saying, I second that. With Halo, GTA 5, and The Last of Us, it's starting to become a trend. What do you guys think about COD 4 10th Anniversary Edition? Tony, you actually put up a blurb regarding this.
Oh, shit, yeah.
So, would you like to start, or would you like to hand it off to someone else first?
Yeah, I can start. What did I say? I'm not going to read it off, but basically what I said in a nutshell was that I always found, like, people, that whole idea of wanting to get, like, redo games in HD, it's always like these nostalgia games. Like, you always like Mario Brothers, or for me, like, it's always been like Mega Man X. Like, if I can get a Mega Man X version, you know, on PS4 or whatever, I'd be happier than a pig in shit. But then I thought, like, we were going over these notes today, I was like, well, what about, like, Resident Evil, like, 1, or I guess Final Fantasy? Those are a bunch of games that people love. Just, like, story-driven games. Those would be the ones I think a lot of people would like to see, but the one sort of thing I got thinking about after going all over all these games is that I think what made those games great was just the fact that you played them for the first time, like, on their, like, the original platform. And so I kind of wondered, and this is a question for the group and for the chat, is like, do you think if they did remake these games, would it lose a little bit of its, like, luster, of its, I don't know, the greatness, the thing that made it awesome to begin with? Because I think it would.
It depends on the game.
Yeah, I agree. Well, specifically, I'm thinking about what I like to call the clunky era of gaming, when everything was amazing because it was new. Like when we first started to get polygons instead of pixels, and when you first started to get 3D worlds to move around instead of 2D worlds to move around, and all this stuff. And you played these games and you were blown away by what you were seeing and what you were doing. But if you go back now, I'm thinking specifically of Resident Evil 1. If you go back now, it's clunky. And it's still a great game, but it's clunky. It's so clunky compared to how refined controls are now for moving through environments in computer games. And you can never get around that clunk. I would rather see stuff like Mario Brothers get a remake where you cannot mess with the mechanic. There's nothing that you need to change to modernize the mechanics of the game. You can change it graphically. But you can make Resident Evil 1 look as pretty as you want, but it's just you're gonna have this beautifully rendered character model going click, 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 you know, clunking around the place.
I like the sound effects and everything.
Yeah. That's good.
It's just gonna be like, there's a section of gaming history we should just leave alone. We should love it for what it was. It's like your romantic life. When you go back, there's like a year and a half when you first get to college. You don't think about what or who you may have hooked up with. It was a glorious time, and that's all you need to remember. But it's the same for gaming. Leave the clunk period the hell alone. If you're going to do a remake, Rockstar are schooling the world right now in how to actually do this kind of thing, because they've got GTA 5. They effectively remade it for the PS4 and the Xbox One and the PC. And they didn't just make it prettier or like put in some new textures or bigger crowds or more traffic on the streets. You've got a whole different perspective in that game. You can go to first person. That's how you do it. You rebuild something at the core of it and you make it amazing. And that's what they did. Like, I've got a serious fucking nerd on for the concept of first person GTA. It's just it's gonna be great.
You can't even say anything about it.
I'm excited.
He's got a good point.
Yeah, I feel like there's a difference between nostalgia remakes, like Ocarina of Time on 3DS. That was my favorite childhood game, and I think it's different on the handheld because it's kind of a handhelds are now kind of at the point where the Nintendo 64 was back then, and I think it's different than say the GTA 5 or The Last of Us Remastered, just going like one generation. So I don't know how I feel about just. I don't want to say it seems almost lazy, but it just kind of seems like they're cashing out if you're just moving it one generation, you know what I mean? I mean, I love The Last of Us on PlayStation 3, and I loved it on PS4, and I like that they added the DLC, but...
Yeah, was that a remake or was that a cash-in? That's more of a cash-in.
Right.
Right.
Oh, and I was so happy to pay that, too.
See,
I traded mine in. It was so much better on PS4, but maybe they should have just waited in the first place, you know?
What?
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 What's wrong?
What? No, waited for the I don't know. I don't really mind the whole remaster.
I couldn't play it. It was so bad. All the load times, the frame rate gave me a fucking headache. I couldn't get through it. I couldn't do it, man. PS4 is awesome though. I traded it in.
No, I agree. The load times were pretty gnarly. They should just have it on PC, really.
Dude, I would love that. Like, that's another topic. I'll go way off on a tangent if I jump into that. But when I first looked at this question, I thought of it in a much more simpler terms than you guys did, and I was just thinking of like the immediate stuff, all specifically like The Last of Us. I think that's an ideal game for remakes, and in that context, yeah, some of those games are good for being remakes because I don't think it's necessarily cash in so much as it's the opportunity was there to kind of like perfection. They're already well into the development of the game by the time the PS4 is announced, so it's not like they could just shit can all that effort and time they put in, and especially the money, into make it for last gen to be like, oh, well, next gen's coming up. This would look a lot better, but we've already dumped like $50 million in almost 2 years into the game at this point. So a game of that caliber, and just given the awkward timeline of how it lined up with development to when the next gen was announced, in that instance, I'm okay with remakes. I don't think it's so much of a cash-in as being able to really realize the full potential of the game you were trying to make. But now really thinking of it on a more broader aspect, like Scanner had said, yeah, there are some classics that you just don't want to mess with because there's nothing worthwhile from trying to remake some of these classics because that's what made them so good. They were classics. They work well in those time frames, or not time, those periods in the gaming industry or the gaming world. Some of those things like Mega Man being completely remastered for, I just couldn't see something like that. But there are other games that would work. Maybe something like Contra could be okay.
No, dude, I could totally see like Mega Man, like Scanner said, like Mario's. You could totally do it, Mario Brothers, because like it's still at its core, the mechanics are still going to be the same. It's going to look pretty. That's all I care about.
There's like 4 redone Mario Brothers. They got new Super Mario Brothers for Wii, Wii U. They got.
That's true.
There's like 10 of them.
Exactly.
No, I want to see like the original Super Mario Brothers like redone.
OG.
No.
OG status.
See, instead of all these remakes, I would just love to see them make playing all these classics a hell of a lot easier on next gen. Really up like the online game market. So if I want to go back and play something like, say, Marble Madness from the original NES, I could easily go do that. And I would love it if they would make those games like easily available on PC, so that I don't have to go pick up an emulator and get that all set up to play it. I know that it's relatively easy. A lot of people seem to do it, but I would be happy to actually pay for those games. To actually go into a Nintendo store and buy all these classics, and if I gotta play them on the Wii U, so be it. But if I could play them on PC, that'd be even better. I like that idea versus remaking some of them to fit into the next gen model, as it were.
You will be able to buy a functional hoverboard before you can play official Nintendo on PC stuff.
Yeah. We don't really need
butthurt about that stuff.
We need next gen CEOs and a next gen game market more than we need next gen fucking consoles. There's a lot of shit that we could bring into this current industry that so many people would pay out the ass for, but all these fucking tight ass CEOs and corporations are like, no, it's mine.
Can I get an AM, bro? Amen, brother.
Are you guys into Halo? Because Ghost specifically mentioned the Master Chief collection. That's what, all 4?
Oh.
Yes, and I'm okay with that because I mean, it's a first-person shooter. And more importantly, it's a futuristic first-person shooter. So getting like a complete remake of that for next gen and potentially PC. Wait, it is going on PC, isn't it? I already forgot now.
I think it's Xbox One only.
I thought there was definitely rumor that it was coming to PC as well, because
Wait, is
Microsoft
that hunky
tweeted.
junk that comes out tonight?
I think so. But yeah, see, I'd be okay with like a Halo remake because it's got a huge following. You know, it's not like they're trying to cash in just to save their company at the last minute. You know what? This is gonna be tough for me to talk about because I know what I want to say, but I'm very overtired and I'm actually really upset because I'm really struggling to get what I'm thinking out. So I'm just gonna stop with it and leave it at I'm okay with the Halo remake because given that it's a first-person shooter, it works. And it wouldn't suffer from that clunkiness. I'm sorry, go.
It's fine. I think it kind of treads the line between the nostalgia and the bringing it into the next gen, one generation. Because you got Halo 1, which I remember I bought 360 and just to play Halo Anniversary. And it was like, it was just kind of, it wasn't the same. Like what I think what Skinner was saying, how you can't really bring back the new feeling of playing that game for the first time. I don't know. I mean, some people might love it enough to play it again, but it wasn't. So Master Chief Collection does not interest me at all.
I never had an interest in Halo to begin with anyway. Like, my friends, that's all they ever played. I remember back in middle school, these 2 kids I knew, one I was really good friends with, and then his friend that I just was like, we were acquaintances. They lived next door to each other. And they'd have crazy LAN parties, and they went out and bought like a 200-foot Ethernet cord so they could connect their Xboxes from house to house. Those were good times. I only went over to watch. I never played because I just I like the look of it, but I just never cared for the mechanics myself. And
Halo was always a super contradictory thing for me because I imagine most people who are playing PC shooters like around the time that I was back when I was in college, they were all about like, you know, Counter-Strike or Unreal. They were the 2 things, and you died like so quick.
Unreal.
In either of the games, unless you had like, you know, your overcharges and shit in Unreal. But the whole point was like that you would die really quick, and then Halo kind of came along, and it would take like 1,000 years to kill somebody. It just didn't make any sense to me from a shooter point of view. So while I like the games, I never loved them because there was always this clash. I like games where you die like really fast. They're my shooters.
Anything else anyone wants to add to this before we move to the next topic? Because we could segue perfectly off of Scanner's last thought into the next topic I want to bring up.
Go for it.
I love segues.
All right, so Scanner, having just said that you love quick time to kill games.
Yes.
Let's talk about Call of Duty.
Okay.
Advanced Warfare specifically. This one came from the King Asshole. It's funny because he asked if that was okay to use on the Dawnbreaker gaming forums. I was like, dude, I don't care. As long as it's not a direct attack on anyone, fucking do what you want. But it'll kind of tie into our thoughts about Call of Duty 4, but we'll discuss the paywall aspect and then discuss Call of Duty should the franchise continue. But from the King Asshole, he said, paywalls blocking what used to be free. Competitive multiplayer in Far Cry 4 and zombies in Advanced Warfare. I'm not looking forward to those games for those features, but that's a dangerous trend that I hate to see more. Now, I didn't really understand what it was he was trying to say earlier, and Scanner made a good point of explaining it to me, so at least I understood too. His point being that, as I understand it, competitive multiplayer in Far Cry 4 is only going to be available in a pay-for DLC package of sorts. And then same with zombies for Advanced Warfare, which zombie mode used to be just an included feature in previous Call of Duty games.
Exactly. Like they've given in Advanced Warfare, you've got what's it called, Exo Survival, which is like it's not zombies, but it's their take on a co-op kind of wave-driven thing. But zombies is the one with the established history and the billions of YouTube videos with the billions of views all over them that people want to play. And if they DLC that, if that's like DLC only, that is a kick in the teeth to the community. It's taking a core feature that has become established with the base game out just to charge for it for no good reason, which is scummy, and then like replacing it with this like kind of, oh look, you've got Exo Survival. It's like nobody cares about Exo Survival because nobody's ever played it before. They want zombies. And in Far Cry 4, they're taking, at the very least, they're taking a full PvP mode and putting it behind a paid DLC wall. And this is the kind of thing that people get mad about. People don't mind DLC. If you want to make a game and give me an experience and then expand upon that experience with DLC, that's fine. I'll make the decision whether I'm invested enough in your game or not to buy your DLC. Don't take shit that I'm fucking used to out of the game that was in the last version of the game that I bought and then try and sell it to me for $5 extra. That's what people hate. It's like in Destiny, there was a lot of arguments on the internet about, oh, there's areas you can't get into, so they took stuff out of the game for DLC. No, not necessarily. They made a plausible entrance to somewhere. You have no idea if there's any kind of map area behind that. It's like, I don't equate those two to be the same. But I hate paywall DLC stuff that used to be in the base game that you could buy. It irks me immensely. It's very anti-consumer. That's my phrase for the day.
I have nothing to add to that because you mirrored my sentiments perfectly.
Yay.
You're absolutely right. If it's already been featured in a previous iteration of said game franchise, don't fucking dare take it out and then be like, oh, remember that thing we used to include for free? It's going to cost you $15 now. Like, that's just shiesty.
Imagine Battlefield doing a Rush DLC.
Yeah, that would, I mean...
Like,
there'd be so many people that don't buy it
for BF4, but like the sentiment is that it's taking something that was free to all and now making it free to few.
Yeah,
it's stupid.
That means you gotta buy that season pass, yo.
Yeah, and don't obviously cut out chunks of the game just so you can sell it later. I know none of you guys really play Destiny. None of you guys in the podcast right now, but oh my god, that game.
I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people in the chat right now that do
play.
Oh
yeah,
so
yeah, no, I meant you.
Go for
you
it.
Three guys.
No, I know. I'm just adding.
I've played probably 160 hours at least, but
God.
160 hours of the same shit over and over and over again. And when you hear about the DLC that's coming out, the Dark Below or something, there are obviously it's already on the disc. Like, people have already found the extra content, the missions that you can go to. So it's obvious with the content that they have, the extra raid, the couple strikes, and the fact that it's already on the disc, and the plot that goes along with it, like where the story goes. It was supposed to be part of the game, and then they decided, oh, well, we'll just cut it out and we'll sell it to you guys. Like, it insults our intelligence as consumers that they would just sell it to them later and we'll just figure it out. Have them do these 5 missions over and over and over again for 160 hours. I'm sure a bunch of idiots will do that.
Expanding. Sorry, go ahead. I thought you were done. I was trying to jump right in there. No, you were going to say something else.
No, I said I'm the idiot that played it for 100 hours.
No, but I want to ask like a legitimate question. Like, does it matter? I mean, what if it was always intended to be DLC, but it could fit on the disc anyways? Does that somehow make it a scam?
Yes and no.
It still irritates me. Like, if it's
I could see it as irritating because it was the same thing with. Do you guys remember in Modern Warfare 2 when they found that extra game mode on the disc? It was like a nuke game mode where if you didn't defuse this bomb or whatever, a nuke would go off and kill everyone, right? Snoov, you probably remember this.
No, it's actually not ringing a bell, but I mean...
Oh my god, yeah, there was this scandal because there was this coding on the disc for Modern Warfare 2, and it was this, like... Basically, it was like Headquarters Extreme, because you had to go defuse these nuclear warheads, and if you didn't do it, then the mission was over, you know? But a lot of people were up in arms about it because there was this extra game mode on the disc that nobody had access to, and they never implemented it. And so anyways, it was just another, like, here's some content that maybe the conspiracy theory is that they'd sell it as a DLC, even though it was on the disc. It just seems like, you know, I can't quite say, like, I'm just playing devil's advocate right here. If they intended to make it for Destiny like a DLC eventually to unlock, I have a hard time seeing that it could be considered a scam or they're decided to use the paywall tactic. Like, okay, well, why should we give them 200 hours of gameplay for the price of the disc when we can give them 160 and then make them pay for the extra 40? It seems a little too nefarious. So, but maybe, like I said, like you're saying, that it could just be greedy people wanting more money.
You know what I see it as?
But games all we've had this year is evidence of nefarious thoughts from games companies, like far more than bunnies and fucking tulips and shit in EA and Activision and fucking whoever else's head offices. It's all like, how do we drain as much money out of the player base as humanly possible?
Yeah, exactly. It's that long, twisting, dark road that game companies and developers and publishers keep going further and further down. You go back into the not too recent past of how games were, and it was like, here's the fucking game, and boom, here's an expansion. And then it became, here's the game, and here's an expansion for a small price. And then it was, here's the game, oh, here's DLC for a little price. And now here's a lot more fucking DLC for the price. And what you got up front for that base full price package has slowly been chipped away at, little bit by little bit by little bit. Because I feel like not enough people were up in arms about this ever-changing business practice of the gaming industry just continuing to nickel and dime the ever-living shit out of their consumers. And now look what we're up against. I mean, it really is the classic story of give a mouse a cookie and what happens. The gaming industry is that mouse, and 20 years ago we started giving him the fucking cookie. But now he's taken over the whole goddamn house, and we're on the doorstep about to be completely kicked out. I know that there's been
mouse.
Like, there's been some, and I like very, very little talk, but I've seen some talk from several people in the gaming community, some prominent members as well, about the potential for the gaming crash again. And I can kind of see there being some legitimacy to those whispers. How much longer are consumers going to keep putting up with that shit before everyone fucking finally gets a clue and the light bulb goes on? They're like, dude, wait a minute. Like, look at Call of Duty. Why do I have to pay for this incredibly popular game mode that used to be free and included in the game before? And that's the big kicker with something like that. It's not like it was just something that was enjoyed by a few people. Zombies was hugely popular and successful. So I may have gone off a bit on a tangent there, but it's kind of one of those, expanding off of what you were saying, Tony. It's not so much a scam, but it kind of is.
Well,
everyone's doing it.
It's not a scam. It's business. This is
shady
business. You charge the highest premium that people will be willing to pay. You then decide where in the market that you want to fall into. It's like, let's look at Apple. Apple charge an extortionate premium for their products based off the actual cost of production of those products. People pay it because people decided that this is what this is worth. It is worth it to me to pay this amount of money for this product. The bite back comes when you push that too far, when your premium gets too high, when more people decide that they don't want it, that used to want it, and it stops making up the difference. If you can sell something to like 1,000 people for $1,000 or 900 people for $2,000, you sell it to 900 people for $2,000 until you eventually hit a price where you're not making as much money as you would or you should, selling it at a slightly cheaper price to more people. And this is what the game industry has yet, because it's a very young industry and it has yet to kind of figure this out. If you sit down any gaming exec, look them dead in the eye and say, when did Medal of Honor the series die? They won't be able to tell you. It's not the kind of thing that instantly springs to mind. This was the last good Medal of Honor game. This was the last good selling Medal of Honor game. They eventually just chipped away at what made the game that people wanted. They drove people away from the game. They were no longer willing to pay the premium price to get it when it came out, and it died. And that's the way all game series go, with the exception of maybe a couple owned by Nintendo because they have nothing else.
Well, I think some of these massive games, like Destiny's massive hype and Call of Duty, it depends on what... I know a lot of my choices depend on what my friends are doing, sadly, because if all the people I know are going to get the game...
Don't say sadly. There's nothing wrong with that.
Well,
gaming
no,
is
I mean,
social. So
if we're gonna be sheeple and buy a shitty game just because everyone else is buying it and we want to play with them,
no, that's different. Sheeple would be just going with. To interject for a
'Cause
quick
it
second, this
sounds
is the
cool.
difference. Right, it'd just be like, oh my god, here's so much hype from fucking everybody about Call of Duty, let's join in. You're fucking sheeple. If all your friends are saying, hey, this game is great and I kind of want to play it, and you prior to that, you may not have had a lot of interest, but there's a reason why all these people are your friends. You share a common interest at some level. That's why you're friends. And if you want to get the game because all your friends are playing it and enjoying it, and that sways your decision, to me, that's different. Please continue.
no, I mean that was really just my point. Like games that have so much momentum, like Call of Duty, and then they put these things behind a paywall. Most people aren't gonna say, "Well, is the premium worth my money?" They're gonna say, "Well, do I want it, or are my friends gonna get it?" And that's gonna be what their decision is based on, instead of, you know, not being an idiot. No offense to anyone who's buying the zombie DLC.
Oh, people will buy it. People bought the fucking Snoop Dogg voice pack.
What?
For
Are you
Ghosts.
serious?
Yeah, there was a
Stop.
Snoop Dogg voice pack. Because what you really want to hear when you're shooting people is some rapper telling you, like, you know, I can't even imagine how Snoop Dogg sounded when he was talking about, you know, enemy UAV overhead. Like, what the fuck? Like, imagine that in your head, Snoop Dogg saying that. Do you think other rappers who don't like Snoop Dogg, like, play that game and have the volume turned down so that they don't have to hear his voice?
That is funny.
Fucking Snoop Dogg's in my house. What the fuck? It'd be funny. I was going to say something else. I was going to wrap up all points succinctly and move on to the next topic because I feel like it's in that natural place, but I can't remember what it is, so fuck it.
God.
Roll right into the next topic. We've got about a maximum of 20 minutes before we're going to wrap it up. Unfortunately, it's a short night tonight. But I got family things to deal with. It's fine.
Morgan Freeman would be the shit
Yes,
on a
that
fucking
would be
voiceover
awesome.
thing.
You know, when you were talking about you can hear Snoop Dogg's voice when playing it, like in your head just now, all I can think of was that joke where if you read text with a picture of a celebrity in the background, you read it in their voice. And it's Morgan Freeman. It's some long spiel. It says, and even now, you're reading everything in his voice. And the very last thing it says, titty sprinkles.
Titty sprinkles. Imagine Morgan Freeman in like Unreal Tournament or something like that. It's like, and after chasing him down a corridor that seemed to wind on forever, he finally killed his enemy. Mega kill. It'd be fucking legit. It'd be so good.
Oh my
That would
god.
be really good. All right, so last point. This was another one from the forum. We had our own topics. We're not going to be able to get to it tonight, but we'll keep them in the back pocket for next week. So this one was from Carbonology. He said, should the Call of Duty franchise continue? What's causing the series to lose popularity? Call of Duty's impact on gaming, and what's changed since its release? I'm just interested to see what the four of you think about Call of Duty and its future in the gaming industry. I'll let someone else take that while I change the topic on the stream.
Ooh.
Who wants it?
I only play Call of Duty on the free weekends, so.
So
The free weekends?
Not
just
my
shut
area.
your camera
Yeah,
off.
they
like,
have
you're
free
not in
weekends
this.
for some of them. Black
Do they
Ops 2.
really? I didn't even know
Yeah.
that.
You can play multiplayer for free.
What?
Probably campaign, but I
Wow.
don't touch campaign because who cares about
Oh,
that?
you don't, because you don't want to get dirty.
No.
Oh, slumming it. Well,
Damn. Oh,
What do you
me
think,
and Tony,
Sierra?
we both think about COD a lot, I think, in our own
Yeah.
ways. I know Tony
You do.
misses COD and what it used to be, and I miss COD and what it kind of used to be.
Dude, you guys think you miss it. Shustybang was started because of Call of Duty. That's how much fucking love I had for that game. Chris and I went out and invested almost $1,000 a piece specifically for doing videos on YouTube directly because of Call of Duty. I loved Call of Duty 4. When I graduated from college in 2007, it was shortly after the PS3 came out, and I was like, dude, I need that console because I heard good things about COD 4. And I got free time again, and I've got money, and I want to get back into gaming. I did not put that game down at all. I was in the top 10,000 for overall score in COD 4 before all the hackers took over the scoreboards. I played that shit way too much. I put more time into that, probably less than Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 3 combined over all my accounts. I miss the shit out of COD, and unfortunately, it's not the same. COD 4 was like just the absolute height of that franchise, and from all there, it's just straight downhill ever since. I'm sorry. Please, someone else talk.
Wait, okay, I think this is just me though. I think the decline of Call of Duty happened after Black Ops 1, and Scanner won't agree because he likes games where you die really fast, and I prefer games where you have a little bit more life. And so for me, Call of Duty Black Ops was probably the last best Call of Duty. My favorite, all-time favorite, especially for multiplayer, was Call of Duty 2. But, you just can't... Yeah, it's perfection, you can't, it doesn't happen all the time.
That's true. I'll give props to Black Ops. Black Ops was good. I
like Black Ops a lot. I spent a lot of time playing Black Ops. That was probably, besides Battlefield 3, that was the game that I spent the most time playing. And I really had the most fun playing. And Tim, actually, Rebel Tim, was telling me, I asked him, because he was playing Ghosts, and he played it a lot. He told me, I asked him why. Why do you like playing Ghosts? And he says, because he likes those games where you can go in and spend 5 to 10 minutes playing a match. You can play a handful of matches, get it in, get out, and have a good time or not. But Battlefield's a game that takes a lot of time, 30 minutes plus per one round. So there's a part of me that agrees with that, because when we were playing the last couple of times, like, legitimately the matches lasted no longer than 5 minutes. It's really like the ADHD kid's like wet dream for video games. It doesn't take very long to finish.
Yeah.
What?
It's like an arcade game.
Yeah, it's like an arcade game. I mean, it's an arcade shooter. So, like, I can understand why Call of Duty is so popular, but I can also see why it's losing ground, just because I think when you first start off as a shooter player, you get to a point where you want to, you'd really enjoy the fast pace, the adrenaline, the excitement of it, calling in your kill streaks. But then after a while, after you play the same title several times over with the same formula, you kind of want something different, and I think that's why people drift away. But for me, the biggest thing that has taken me away from Call of Duty has always been the connection issues. In Black Ops, it wasn't so bad. We seemed to be able to mitigate the problem by having my buddy Leon in Texas host. We didn't allow any Canadians to play. Sorry, Canadians, but like, you fucked up our entire like system for getting good connections, because my buddy would be in Texas, middle of the country. So if my other buddy Chris hosted a party over in South Carolina, I had a shitty time. If I was hosting the party, he had a shitty time. But if Leon was hosting the party, we had a great time. There was just, for whatever reason, he pulled host all the time, and it was a pretty good average host. But peer-to-peer is such an antiquated system now in technology, in the video game world. Like, it needs dedicated servers. And if they can get back to allowing people who have good internet to not get punished, because my conspiracy theory is that in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, that was the first time they brought in the whole lag compensation. And it seemed like if you had the best internet, the fastest internet, and I think the way it works is they think they dial back your hit points or some shit like that. I know Puppy he knows it because he did a video about it. But ever since they did that, if you were paying for the best internet, you were always on the wrong side of lag compensation. You were always getting slaughtered.
Yeah,
that's why I'm getting fucked.
Yeah, and so, well, I don't know about that. That situation is a little strange when you're playing with all us, Yankees and a few Canucks. But
damn you guys.
Yeah, I mean, if they went to like a real, true, dedicated server, I think a lot of people would come back to that, just because of the fact that people want to have these fun, even games. That's like the one thing that drives me nuts, is like, I want to feel like I had a fair gunfight in any online experience. And I know that it's not possible to get an absolute 100% fair gunfight every time, because latency takes in, distance from servers take into effect. But I want to feel as if I can have a 90% of the time have a fair gunfight, and not watch the kill cam and watch myself get killed, and then in the kill cam I'm like, oh, I didn't even shoot a shot on his screen.
Yeah.
So that's why Call of Duty's constantly been losing in popularity, because they just don't invest the time and money into building a good infrastructure for their multiplayer.
Dude, that's what it comes down to. It was 100% fucking pure greed. And there is nothing you can say to convince me otherwise, considering how much fucking money that game makes every single year. Every single year it breaks $1 billion.
A shitty version of that game makes money. Like Ghosts was shit. It was absolute shit. I saw so many people walk away from COD because of Ghosts. It was actually this really interesting thing because Battlefield had always been known as this like kind of slower paced thing, and COD was always the like run and gun stuff. And you've got all these dudes who, when faced with Ghosts, just see this game that they find absolutely abhorrent. And BF3 is doing all these free weekends and all these sales and all these, you know, crazy things. So they they check it out and they love it. They can go on to No Share Canals, and there can be like 16 people on the other team or whatever, and you can kill them all in one go with C4. It's fucking hilarious. Like, nobody's going to turn around for whatever reason, and you're going to put down those lumps of C4 and you're going to blow up a load of fucking people, and it's going to feel amazing. And you get in a gunfight every 2.5 seconds on a big server, and it's non-stop action, it's pace. And they loved it. Ghost was shit. So many people hated it. It still made over $1.5 billion for a shitty game that everybody hated, because you have to buy it to know it's shit.
Yep. Every year, I think it's they kind of fell in the same trap I did for a couple years. Like, dude, it's got to get better. Like, they acknowledged all the shit that went on with that last game. It's got to get better, and then you buy it, and you're like, fuck, it's still the same. So, like, you kind of deal with it, and you're like, all right, fuck it, I swear to God, they're going to get it right the next time. How can they get it wrong 3 times in a row? And you buy it again, dude, you're like, fuck, they did it again!
Fucking Snoop, that's why I keep saying, I have, when it comes to Call of Duty, I legitimately have, like, the battered wife syndrome. Like, seriously, no shit, like, oh, he loves me, or she loves me, or whatever, you know, he loves me, it was just like, it was just one time, it won't happen again. And then you buy the game again, and you're like, drunk. Fuck, it's a pile of shit, he cheats on me, what the fuck, and never again, I won't touch it again. And then fucking next November, you're buying the bitch again, you're like, it'll be better this time, I swear to God.
That is such a politically incorrect comparison, yet it's kind of perfect. It's
did
bad.
You not
it's really
see the
bad.
videos
So I'm looking at
out?
Jets the whole time and saying that.
This is going to sound really strange, but after Ghosts was an utter, complete, diabolical disappointment, I never said I won't buy another Call of Duty. I never said it. I bought this Call of Duty. This Call of Duty is making me want to never buy another Call of Duty, even though it's 1,000 times the game that Ghosts ever tried to be. The movement system is spot on. The weapons, as far as I can tell when I'm not getting fucked in the ass by connection, are balanced and whatnot. It's great fun to play. The map design, for the most part, works. Everything's on point. The reason this one is my last COD, and I'm just nailing it out there right now, just putting the lid on his coffin, they had a good game that could have been great, and they fucking were not willing to even bother trying.
Yep, you're right.
It's not like Ghosts. I can understand you make Ghosts and you look at it and you fucking weep for whatever path your life took that you made a lump of shit game like Ghosts. I can understand that. I can understand giving up before the fucking bitch is even out in the market released. Advanced Warfare, they're not even willing to put in the effort, and they could have a fabulous game on their hands. They could have a game that is really strong, huge fun, and fair. But no, they're just not arsed. So if they're not willing to do it when they're this close, it's like getting half a hand job. It's like, don't even bother. What's the point?
Right, I feel a little good, but really in the end, I'm unsatisfied and chafed. What was
Why?
Why?
Why am I friends with you?
Oh, Jess, you have to have a penis to know what we're talking about.
Because of my
I can know what you're talking about without a penis.
Oh.
So
yeah, there you go. That's. I should really go back and redo my Call of Duty review. It's like COD Advanced Warfare. It's basically half a hand job.
Basically half a hand job, yeah.
All right.
Oh my God.
Yeah, fuck. I'm like, that's it. I just couldn't be arsed with COD. I gave them enough chances, and they came so close, but no.
You know what it feels like? Yeah. They went from that 2-year to the 3-year dev cycle, and I was not going to put my money into this. And again, I got to give a shout out to Vita Nation. That's his Twitter handle for anyone that's curious. he said, dude, I'll buy you the game if you're willing to give it a fair review. And I'm almost done with the campaign. I got to put in some more hours, but I'll have that review done by this weekend. There's enough there that keeps me interested in the franchise, but not enough that I want to put my own money into it. And I feel like with this game, they went from that 2 to 3 year dev cycle, and that's really kind of what piqued my interest regarding Advanced Warfare. But it feels like they didn't even know what to do themselves with that 3-year dev cycle. Like, I know it was a different game company that came in to take care of it, but it seriously feels like it's been the same company doing it year in and year out. Every 2 years they get a new game. And it was the same 2 companies, and it just feels like that's so ingrained to them. And when they got to that 3rd year, they're like, well, it's done, so I'm not really sure what to do.
Yeah.
And it just didn't seem to progress past that 2-year point.
Make up lies about dedicated servers.
Right.
Well, I think the thing is after Black Ops was the last game, Black Ops 1 that is, was the last game that had its own unique feel. So I think Activision went to Treyarch, who had become the lead studio after Infinity Ward dissolved, pretty much. They went to Sledgehammer, Treyarch, Infinity Ward, which probably changed its name again. And they said, this is the experience that we want our players to have. You must all have the same experience because, in my opinion, I know some people don't agree with me, but Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 2, Ghosts, and now to a lesser extent, Advanced Warfare, they all look and play the same. They all have the same issues with regards to connections, guns. You know, it's very much a world where the submachine guns are dominant. And then I think with Advanced Warfare, you get a trickling effect, or I guess a lateral effect from Titanfall, because I do see a lot of Titanfall in there. It's not as much as I initially thought. Watching streams, early access streams of Advanced Warfare, but there is Titanfall influence. It's that one thing they're like, you know what, that game, it was a new IP, it had a lot of hype, and the hype kind of died down for a while, and then when it finally came out, a lot of people liked it, and we were all kind of surprised, like, Activision published this game, and it was good. And I think they took some of that, and they're like, well, we could do this whole thing with, like, exosuits, and it'll be kind of like Titanfall, but it'll be still Call of Duty based. So I think where it comes down to, just to like reiterate, it's just that I think Activision said, this is what the experience that we want to have, make that happen. And that's where we get this sort of rinse and repeat since Modern Warfare 3.
Let me put it this way. If the movement system in Titanfall was superb, it felt glorious to play. If the COD movement felt like that, and if it had them dedicated servers that Titanfall has, COD would be a hell of a fucking game. Advanced Warfare.
I think
it would be.
If they actually legitimately had dedicated servers across the board for consoles and PC for Advanced Warfare, I could see this game breaking the 2 billion mark, because it has that kind of potential. It is pretty good, but I've said this so many times when I was fucking ripping on Battlefield 4, justifiably so. The hit detection in a first-person shooter, or any shooter game, multiplayer-based game, is the very fucking foundation of your game. It is the fucking ground floor. You cannot build anything else reliably and structurally sound if you've got a shit foundation. And that's Call of Duty's problem. Everything starts with the ground floor problem, and it just fucks everything else up from that point on. If put in a fucking really spiffy foundation, which would be dedicated servers, this game would actually be highly enjoyable. But I can't in good conscience go and tell anyone to go play this game. Never mind even buy it. Like, even if it were for free, I would still be hesitant to tell people to go and play it, because the hit detection is that shit. Yeah. And there's no point. There's so many other good games out there. I mean, they could be as simple as something like Robot Roller Derby Disco Dodgeball, or something as even a little bit more elaborate as Battlefield 4.
Fuck off.
Well, not Battlefield 4 specifically. Something at that level of newness,
there we go,
if you will. That are just better.
I will not stand here and have a good word said about Battlefield 4. That's just the way it's going to be.
Oh, man.
Battlefield 4 has earned every bit of shit that it has been directed at. But with that said, I must say I have found a new love for the game, only because I've completely changed my mentality regarding how I play it. But that's another discussion for another time. I think that's it in a nutshell then regarding Advanced Warfare, unless anyone has any last second thoughts before we wrap up the stream. That's it. Sweet.
I'm
All right.
handsome.
Yeah, seemed like it.
Handsome. All right, so thank you guys for watching. We appreciate it.
No!
Uh-oh.
Not Pikachu!
Oh.
Wait,
that
what?
would be Epona's dog just attacked her stuffed Pikachu.
Oh. I was like, what the hell's going on?
She's so fucking mad.
She's so grumpy.
She's so fucking pissed.
Bad dog.
I think
dog.
she's
Her
licking
lips.
her chops. She's like, give me that fucking thing. All right, so that's it. Thank you guys for watching. We appreciate it. As you can see down below, our handsome mugs are our Twitter handles. If you guys would do us a favor, if you're interested, follow us on Twitter. We'd appreciate it. Pretty much everything we discuss inside of the game speak is Twitter in a nutshell, just limited to 140 characters at a time. Aside from that, we're all pretty damn interactive with the community. I mean, there is rarely a time when I don't respond to tweets directed at me. So if you guys are interested, you want to keep this session going, just fucking throw random questions at us. Follow us on Twitter.
Send me a tweet, I'll tell you to fuck yourself.
It's a lie. He'll embrace it. His ego just lives off of all the interactions.
See, people don't understand. This is what people tell me. I'm fucking arrogant and I'm egotistical, and I am. But they misinterpret the nature of my egotism. I don't need validation from anybody else because I'm the greatest fucking thing that ever lived, and I validate myself. Idiots. Jesus.
Good point.
Come
Simple.
on, man. Jeez.
Last but not least, most important point. So everything we've discussed has come from the Dawnbreaker Gaming forums. This whole stream is going to be uploaded to my channel, youtube.com/Shustybang. In that, you will find a link in the video description to the forums. You can just go to the website at any time. It's dawnbreakergaming.com. Any one of you guys, if you want to, real quick, please, since you're all mods, throw it up, a link in the chat. People can easily click it. Bookmark that shit. Create a user account. In the forums, I will start the GameSpeak episode 2 topics. You guys can throw anything gaming related in there for potential topics that we will discuss. The live stream is going to continue to happen every week, Monday night, this same time, roughly about 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Oh.
Be 5 p.m. Eastern Standard, and Scanner, I believe it started at 1 a.m. What is it, GST?
GMT.
GMT for the UK.
Now I want to
UK
come up with something
area.
awesome that GST could be, though. Like, GMT is just like Greenwich Mean Time, but like GST could be like Greenwich Super Time.
Yes, I like it. So, you'll be able to find a link in the description to the forums. I'll create a whole new thread. You guys can go ahead and throw in your topics there. We'll pick and choose through it. And aside from that, the forums are there for anyone to use at any point. Go ahead and start throwing stuff up. Jess and I are doing our absolute best to continue to get up more content for the site as much as we can. It's tough, but we're finding that sweet spot of multitasking, full-time career and life and all that stuff, along with the website, YouTube, the whole 9 yards. That's going to wrap it up. Again, we appreciate you guys watching this. Fucking fantastic numbers. We're at like a solid 48 people almost the entire night, and I think we peaked at about 54, which is pretty damn good.
Nice.
With that, we bid you all adieu. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful night, everyone. We will see you on the GameSpeak next Monday.
Farewell.
Bye-bye.